We are officially starting The Actor Overcomes, Socializing with Casting, and away we go. This is going to get really fast, really quick, because I could spend 3 hours on this conversation because it's so subjective, it is so personal, and it is such a quagmire that we oftentimes, as an acting community globally, which I completely understand, especially at various ages. You have to remember that I came to Hollywood by Hollywood standards late. I was almost in my mid-20s by the time I got here. And to that point, there are things that we unequivocally get better at in life, just in life. Has nothing to do with being an actor. We get more comfortable with ourselves, more secure with ourselves, etc., etc. But if you're a young person, and regardless of your age, if you can master this part of our profession, again, skip the fact that we've been in a pandemic. There will be a time again where going out to places and running into people is common. So understanding yourself and also the goal in terms of what you're trying to accomplish when you socialize with casting is monster. Hey, Sarah, welcome in. As I always say to folks I haven't seen much, please ping your friends, get them in here if you can. So when you start talking about being out in the social scenario with casting, I get pretty hard line about what we face, because this is one of these areas, you guys, in terms of my expertise, where I want to say that I failed miserably, but very brief and very quick, and I learned it fast because I failed miserably. And we got to get this down quickly. So, right off the top, the first thing, this is all about how you think, guys, okay? So, just like in life, one of the most important things we need to take in mind is think about your environment. And when it comes to being in a conversation in any shape, form, or fashion socially with someone who's in casting assistant, associate, casting director, don't care. Executive casting at a studio network anywhere in the world, globally, don't care. Same thing. Are you encountering them solo? Number one. Are you encountering them in a small group of people that is somewhat intimate, such as, and it's just a transcendent metaphor, such as a dinner party, something like that, where it's a small gathering. Hey, Mickey. And the third item, the third environment you have to consider in this is, are you encountering them in a large group scenario? As a matter of fact, since Mickey just joined, back in the day, as if you were at one of the year-end holiday parties that the Actors Network used to throw when there were 400 people there. So solo, small, medium, intimate, or a large gathering. So first thing you want to consider about socializing, always know your environment. Number two, you have to make sure that you're clear on the reason that you've now encountered this person, however it may be. Did you, quote unquote, bump into them by accident? And I always just like to use a line at Starbucks. I just make up just some place where you would wind up bumping into, as an individual, to an individual by accident. That's number one. Was this planned? Were you going someplace that was planned? Like, you knew you were going to a dinner party. You may or may not have known that someone from casting would be there, but where you are is a place that you have planned. What's up, TB? TB's in the house. And number three is it a combination of the two, in the sense that you may have planned to go to Dodger Stadium, and it may be a large venue, but then you have encountered somebody for the reason of you are in the nearby vicinity and run into them. That's the reason. So you've got the environment and you have the reason. Now you have to have the how. And this is important for you guys who are just now coming in. I had to start sharp at 9:05. This is such a hard subject for me to get through in 30 minutes. So Tony, Mickey, Paul, be sure you go back and watch this on the grid, because you've got to see this from the top. So you got your environment to consider, the three places, the three reasons as to why it might be that you run into this person, and now you have the how. Are you encountering this person in casting because a third party introduced you? That's one. Number two, are you encountering them simply because of the environment? Again, think of smaller places, a gym, a coffee line, more singular places where you might environmentally, if that's the how as to why, because, and I make the joke all the time, that in the early 90s, I wound up hungover in a hot air balloon ride at 6 o'clock in the morning in Sedona, Arizona, with my girlfriend and a couple, and it turned out the female of that couple was one of the top casting directors in Los Angeles, and I didn't know it. So, again, environment, and or is it a cross mix of that? Is it a cross mix of the how? Maybe somebody invited you to a party, somebody invited you someplace, and you weren't planning on it, and it's a little bit solo, and it's a little bit intimate, or it could expand out into a large based on, let's say, a huge party in the backyard of someone's house. Always be aware of the environment you're in, the reason why you are there or this encounter happened, and the how of how it happened. Those three things are monster in how we go about socializing with casting, okay? And this is why. This is an entire mental mess for us. And I would love to say that it's only a mental challenge for us when we're young. No. That it's only a mental challenge for us when we don't have our union card or we don't have enough credits to feel confident. No. Or it's only a mess for us when it's somebody who's really important. No. I'd love to say that all those three things are 100% true for 100% of the actors globally. No, it's not. Every person's left to their individual level of comfort, discomfort, security, insecurity, confidence, or holy shit, because this is what tends to happen to us when we're in the presence of casting for any reason. We tend to, and you have to be careful about this. This is the mistake. Well, I was just kind of like a Labrador puppy in general. You can probably imagine that. You know, you go back 30 plus years. I was like, hi, how's it going? I mean, I was like on 7 cups of coffee, only I wasn't. I was just being me. But I learned in social scenarios that was too much. It was too much for people most all the time. But what happens to us is we have this mental thought of like, oh, I've encountered this person, or just got introduced to this person, or I'm at a distance and I can hear some people talking and now I know who that person is. However you discover who this person is, my man Wood is in the house, bruh. Good to see you, man. I know you've been busy catting. No matter how you discover who this person is, whether you knew him ahead of time or not, and I'll get to knowing someone in a minute, but we tend to go with this thought in our brain, oh my God, this is my shot at the title. I've been saying this phrase for a long time. This is my shot at the title. And we attempt to do what we shouldn't do. And I had to learn this the hard way. And we tend to try to make an impression. And we tend to try and do that, please don't do this, by justifying your existence as an actor. I know. This is why I wish we were talking in a room where I could see your face. I understand you're like, do I do that? Do I do that? Have I done that? Yeah. We all have. So this is what you want to avoid. Your mentality can't be, oh my God, this is my shot at the title, and I have to find a way to impress them and justify my existence so that I'll be memorable. That is the trap. Remember, my book is literally based on the premise of traps and solutions. That is the trap of socializing with casting. Trust me on the sunscreen. That's the trap. Because here's what we don't do. This comes from, and I make the joke all the time, what pencil's going in the air, gotta have both hands. I make the joke all the time, if you ever go back, if you're old enough to have watched Raw with Eddie Murphy, or if you ever go back and watch it, he does this whole bit about being hungry, and it wouldn't matter what kind of cracker you had, but damn, that's a good cracker. It's like exactly. This is what happens with our community. We get so few opportunities. We are so commonly last on the list that this is what this feels like. And for all you guys here, please know it's 7 o'clock our time tonight. I am doing a special presentation of how to create film and television opportunities for Secret Actor Society. It's at that time because she's based in Australia. I have posted the free registration link. She's letting me have guests, which normally they don't do. It's a members only thing. They're letting me have guests. So the registration link's in my Instagram bio. So you guys check that out if you want to register for tonight at 7 o'clock. It's only an hour long. But what we don't commonly think about in the socializing part is them. You know, they're socializing too. They're a human being who's out as well. We don't think about their mind. So when I gave you all the first stuff, the environment and the reason and the how, you have to think to yourself, based on, this is why your environment matters so much. Right when you realize where you are, that you encounter this person, where are you? And where are they? Are you encountering them where they might be running an errand or doing some kind of personal business? Are you encountering them where it's a situation where clearly it's just a casual moment for them? Okay? They're living real life. That's what they're in the middle of doing. If a casting person's at Dodger Stadium, if a casting person is at a non-industry party or an intimate friends party where they happen to maybe know somebody or they're distantly related with, I'm not saying that this industry is not on everybody's mind all the time. It's not what I'm saying. But I'm sharing with you is it's when you encounter somebody out typically, it's a little different if you're at an award show or you're someplace where it's a rap party or it's something like that, or even, Mickey, for example, the Actors Network holiday party, which was a party and it was fun and casual, but it was a specific industry party. And so it's always for me, not how much their guard is up. We don't want to have a mental fight with them, but it is about where is their mind. This is what I mostly learned and why I became so proficient at just being cash. Guys, you always got to have a couple of 3 things that you're good at talking about that don't have anything to do with this business. And to that point, also remember, this is the old school teaching from parents, man. Listen, you're not trying to solve somebody's politics or ideology when you're having a casual conversation. Don't be trying to get in and be like the smart, cool person who's going to adjudicate someone's brain who's in casting because you casually met them someplace or bumped into them at a coffee line by talking about politics or dangerous ideology subjects. Don't do it. That's not the purpose of this, man. It's just not. Your whole thing is to understand your environment, the reason why you're here, think about the reason why they're here, the environment you're in with them, and how you wound up even chatting with them, and just be a human being. But again, our brains lock up. This is why I say our mentality is, oh my God, it's my shot at the title. If you do that, what happens, just like an improv, if any of you guys have taken improv class, if you start thinking about what will be funny, how to be funny, as opposed to just living in, whether it's Freeze Tag or whether it's the Herald, I don't care. You're living in the story of what your character would be doing in that story, or you came up, something hit you as a character. You have to be true to what that person would naturally do. The funny takes care of itself. My old acting coach, concern yourself with the effort, the result will take care of itself. The problem is we get stuck in the result of Sally Field, Oscars. I hope you like me. How do I justify my professional existence? And what can I do to get you to like me? That's death cubed. Right there. 1, 2, 3, death. That's what it is. I learned this the hard way. So you have to understand, think about your environment and what their mentality might be, where they're standing. And even if it is an industry thing, guys, there are 1,000 more subjects to discuss about this industry other than yourself. So Again, and remember, doesn't matter how much of a star you are. The only thing that takes away your physical presence mattering in this profession is you become a multi-million-dollar A-list offer-only actor. And if you're there, you can just ignore this conversation, okay? But if you're not there, yeah, your talent matters, but your physical self is always going to, what's up, Allison? Long-time girlfriend, good to see you. Your physical presence is always going to matter. So just by standing in front of them, their subconscious casting mind is already seeing you and your product. Man, that's like 85% there, man. What you want to accomplish, here's the goal. And I get asked this all the time. And this is why this conversation could go on for hours. I've had people ask me for 3+ decades, what's the goal? And when I first started doing this, I thought the goal was to make sure they remembered me in perpetuity from this moment in time accidentally. Like, no, that's not the goal. And this is part of our problem. I'm not saying it makes us narcissists, although some of our community is, but it's too much. There are thousands upon thousands of us, or hundreds of us in one market, or thousands in a big market. Not in perpetuity, you guys. I'm telling you right now, the casual subconscious thought, which is the goal in socializing with casting, is for them at some point, be it immediate, 10 minutes later, or maybe when you wave at them by as you're walking out, nice to meet you, is for them to have the passing thought of, oh, they'd be cool to work with. That is 1,000,000,000% the point. Because we don't think about this. We don't think about part of what casting folks are friends. I just have too many friends in casting I've been talking to for 3 decades. They are petrified, scared to death commonly on a major show that they may be casting. Whether, I go back to Ulrich Dawson Kritzer, who I've known since, 1988. And all the top shows that people are on, and I think 2/3 of the shows I've been on when I did them were in the top 10. They're super paranoid that you're going to do something when not working that's inappropriate on that set. That's what they're scared of. What's up, Liza? Good to see you. That's what they're scared of. So when you encounter someone, whether it's an accident that you wind up having a casual social conversation, it's at a wedding that's not related to the industry, or it's at an industry party, I don't care. Their concern subconsciously when they encounter an actor is, you have to remember exactly, no time, long time, girlfriend, good to see you. They're worried when they're encountering you because they know you're an actor. You have to remember, what are you when you're hired? You're an employee. This is why I always talk about casting. Being in is HR. We call them casting directors, guys, but in the labor laws, it's human resources. Well, what do human resources deal with? Employees. When you work, what are you? An employee. That's why we fill out W-2s. I'm not trying to take away from your artistry. Y'all, I'm a Pisces. I'm a complete goofball. But I understand that I am a human product that's an employee. And yes, employers have guidelines for how employees are treated, but you know what? Employees have behavior guidelines too. And this is what happens the moment you start socializing with a casting director is those employee behavior red flags of all the bad stories they've encountered are on high alert for them. We're busy thinking, oh my God, this is my shot at the title. And you lose your mind. That's why you always got to have a game plan. Always got to have a funny story. Always got to have a couple of subjects you're willing to talk about inside the industry, outside the industry that are not overtly religious or political or any of those things. Just be a dude, or again, somebody, as the old joke goes, we've all done this, and this is my transcendent metaphor. as we get into the last 10 minutes, because I do want to take a couple of questions if anybody has them. I'm betting somebody here today has a scenario. But we've all done this. How many times in your life, once you got past the age of 16 or 17, have you thrown a party? And you started going through the invite list, depending on what the party was for. And you're sitting with somebody else who's helping you with the party, and a name comes up, and one of you, either you or the other person, goes, "Oh, we can't invite them to this party." And the conversation ensues. Why? Employee behavior. That's why. So you have to realize that socializing with casting isn't just an entree to potential and further opportunities for you professionally. And I'm not trying to squelch anybody at all. I'm always on your side, okay? Not trying to quash anyone's dreams. But you can't be the over-energetic lab puppy running through the china shop. It's not a bull in the china shop. That's a different human being. It's a lab puppy in a china shop. I should make that a hashtag. It's a lab puppy in a china shop. Still going to wag your tail and run around and knock shit over and break stuff. So again, and I don't want you to be demure if you're not demure. Listen, my personality is my personality when I'm out. But I can still have this personality or this energy and talk about something that isn't dangerous and don't have to talk about myself as an actor. That's why to me, it's even more valuable when you go, "Oh yeah, I'm an actor. So anyway, did you see the Dodger game last night? Man, I changed the subject instantly. Because the first thing they're expecting is for you to just go off and shove your resume down their throat, which is what you don't want to do. Because what you want to have happen is what I said. You want to walk away, which I'm going to cover in just a second, and you want to have them want to, either while they're still at this venue or when they get back to the office the next day or later that night, you want them to want to go to IMDb and look you up. That's the goal. That's what you want, man. So to that end, no matter what the scenario is, no matter what the encounter is, whether you're surrounded by friends and it's 6 people having a conversation and you're one of them, whether it's you and just 3 or 4 people, whether you're at a dinner party and you kind of dance around this person for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, or whether it's just a solo encounter because you were in line at Starbucks and you fell into a conversation. Here it comes, and people who've heard me speak for 3 decades have heard me say this over and over and over again, and I'm never going to stop saying it. I'm the first guy to bring this up back in the early 90s, and I'm saying it again. ABL. I'm waiting for Paul or somebody to type it in. Always be leaving. You have to make sure that you're always the person who leaves that conversation first. Always be leaving. If you wind up chatting with somebody individual, even if you're surrounded by 300 people, have a light convo or whatever, and have your reasons for leaving. Hey, listen, I know you got a lot of people to talk to. I really appreciate the time. We'll see you throughout the backyard here, but, enjoy the evening. Thanks for the time. Walk away. Don't be a dick, but walk away. If it's a kind of a light 3 or 4 people and you've been introduced to somebody and it's you and your boyfriend or girlfriend and or it's 4 other couples or whatever, it's like, always just find a reason to say, "Hey guys, enjoy the rest of the evening," and walk. I don't mean cut yourself off, but commonly this is what happens. Actors, when talking with people in casting, almost reach out as watch people's body language. If their shoulders start to turn, if you see their eyes looking away, don't let them find a reason to walk away from you. Be cognitive of the time that you're with them and let them go. I say it all the time, man. 60 to 90 seconds in person with you, done right, is more valuable than 100 electronic submissions by you and 20 by your representative. Because when you walk away they get from that message is, oh, you're not another desperate actor who needs a bunch of my attention. And that's also important to them when you're on a set, when you're on a show, when you're recurring. That's important. We can't have that. We all know that person. We've all had jobs. Unless you were born with a trust fund, God bless you. I wasn't. We've all had jobs. There's always been that one or two individual at any office, any place, any whatever, whether it's in the snack room or wherever, who's just that always annoying person who just doesn't leave people alone. This is not an actor thing. This is a human being thing. But it gets heightened because, again, damn, that's a good cracker. Because we don't get a lot of opportunities with having these conversations not in an audition room. Always be leaving. Just steal away, stealth away. And what I would do, and I'm a big advocate of this, is once that encounter happened and it wasn't a solo thing where I walk and they just go on with their day, if it's a smaller intimate gathering or it's a larger thingy, what Kevin would always do is, after that initial moment, that initial short casual convo, what I'd always do is I would find a way physically to be in their eye line from a distance. Have a great night. Nice chatting with you. Just a last moment. Okay, this is Psychology 101. Those of you who've been listening to me for years know that I wanted to get a double psychology major. I just didn't. It's kind of like I wanted to be a professional athlete. I just wasn't. So primacy and recency is Psychology 101. If I held up 10 words, 1, 2, 3, and put them down, the two you're most likely to remember is first and last. Standard. That's why your demo reel should always start and end with just you. Boom. So when that encounter has happened, however it's happened, that's the primary moment. What's the recency moment? Well, the recency moment is your exit. And even if you're alone, that's your exit. It's just something casual. Hey, take care, have a great day. Whatever it is, solo. But if it's in an intimate thing or it's, a smaller thing, just, if it's a smaller intimate, like a dinner party or 15, 20 people, something like that, yeah, I'd walk up and say, hey, great chatting with you. Good luck with whatever, have a great fourth. I'd make some shit up. And if it was a really large gathering from 15 or 20 feet, I would just catch their eye and go, hey, great chatting with you, take care, and walk. So the last image they have of me is nothing special, but cordially, casually friendly, and leaving. Because that's what you do when you work. You show up, you be brilliant, you be low maintenance, and at the end of the day, you leave. And we think, as an inherent community, that's not special. And yet, if you talk to them, it is special. You want to know why? Because it's called being a professional. That's why. And there are 12-year-olds who do it better than 42-year-olds. And that's my point. This is not an age thing. This is an understanding thing. And what I want for you, what I've always wanted for this community, all the way back to when I first got into this profession, even before I started the Actors Network, and one of the reasons why I started the Actors Network would be this conversation right here. It would be me doing baby lab shit, knocking myself into the wall, bleeding on my nose. Oh my goodness, Tamara, I'm almost done. I got 1 minute left. It's so nice to have you drop in. Tamara, please go back. Tamara Braun, everybody, you'll see her. She's a daytime star. There's my lovely lass right there, Miss Braun. Tamara, go back and watch this on the grid. Please, please, please. If they don't ask, what do you do? I'm assuming you don't mention it. Well, Alana, in the last minute here, if they don't ask what you do, which is common that they would, for me, I would tend to find a way within something where I would just make a passing comment. I wouldn't even say that I'm an actor. I'd make a passing comment that's involved in the casual conversation about my life, and what that would tell them is that I'm an actor. I would say it in a way that they would know it. But yes, I would not make a big deal out of it. Hey, Teresa, guys, just so you know, Tamara, I love you being here. I hope you can make some in the future. Teresa, please go back and watch this on the grid because I really try to stick to 30 minutes for everybody's schedule. But let me make this, yes, ABL means I should leave the session. Again, I'm doing a special hour tonight for Secret Actors Society. The free registration link is in the bio. That's my time, you guys, 30 minutes on Socializing with Casting. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you on Friday, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys tonight. All right, peace and love. See you soon.